I've seen the same story play out over and over. You pick up a cheap, off-the-shelf UPS to protect a workstation or a home router, only to realize it shuts down the moment the power dip hits a little harder than it expected. The regret isn't just about the money you spent, it's the moment you lose a critical save file or a server goes offline during a backup. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. That's why I wanted to see if APC's Smart UPS 1500VA Lithium-ion model actually feels like a smarter buy, or if it's just another pricey promise. When you're standing in a server room aisle or a cramped home office, the first thing you notice about a UPS is how it fits into the space you have. This unit is a 3U rack mount with a surprisingly shallow depth, which means you can slide it into a standard 19-inch rack without having to rearrange cabling just to make room. That kind of physical compatibility matters for anyone who already has a rack full of switches, PO injectors, or a small blade server. It also means you can keep it out of the way on a desk if you're not using a rack at all. The front panel still faces you, and the LCD gives you a quick read on load, input voltage, and battery runtime. What really separates this UPS from the budget crowd is the lithium-ion battery chemistry. Traditional lead-acid packs need to be kept on a maintenance schedule, they lose capacity after a few years, and they add a lot of weight. The lithium pack in this APC model stays at roughly the same charge level for years, and it's light enough that the whole unit is easier to lift when you need to pull it out for service. In real-world terms, that translates to a smoother transition when the grid fails. You won't hear that familiar click and then a brief pause as the batteries catch up. For a small office that runs a VoIP PBX and a network-attached storage device, that seamless switch can be the difference between a dropped call and a complete outage. The SmartConnect remote monitoring feature is another practical advantage. Once you enable it, the UPS talks to APC's cloud service over a secure connection, and you can pull up status reports from a phone or a laptop anywhere you have internet. I've used it while traveling and got a push notification when the unit entered battery mode because a neighbor's construction crew tripped the main breaker. That heads-up gave me time to arrange for an on-site tech to restart the equipment before any customers noticed a hiccup. If you run a managed office or a small data center, having that visibility without installing separate SNMP cards or third-party software is a real time saver. Now, no product is perfect, and the Smart UPS does have trade-offs that show up after you move beyond the spec sheet. First, the price point is noticeably higher than the entry-level models you see on Amazon for under $300. You're paying for the lithium chemistry, the rack mount form factor, and the cloud monitoring, so expect to spend closer to $1,200. Second, because it's a 1500VA unit, you can't expect marathon runtime if you try to run a full-load server farm off it. At a 50% load you might see about 15 minutes of backup, push it to 80% and that drops to under 10 minutes. For most small office setups that's fine, you just need enough time to let a generator kick in or to shut down gracefully, but if you were hoping to keep a high-performance workstation alive for an hour, you'll need a larger UPS or an external battery module. Who should consider this UPS? If you're the IT manager of a boutique firm, a freelance video editor who runs a color grading workstation, or a tech-savvy homeowner who wants to protect a home lab of Raspberry Pis, a network switch, and a NAS, the combination of pure sine wave output and lithium reliability makes sense. Pure sine wave is crucial for sensitive equipment like servers, storage arrays, or medical-grade devices, because it mimics the clean power you get from the grid and prevents issues that some cheap simulated waveforms can cause, such as overheating power supplies or data errors. The built-in LCD and remote alerts also suit people who want to keep an eye on power health without adding extra monitoring tools. On the flip side, if you're a gamer with a single PC, a casual home user who only needs to protect a desktop and a monitor, or someone on a tight budget, the extra cost may not justify the features. Those users typically can get by with a less expensive 800VA lead-acid UPS that still provides a few minutes of battery time and basic surge protection. They also rarely need pure sine wave, because most consumer power supplies can handle a simulated waveform without issue. A practical weakness that shows up in daily use is the learning curve of the LCD menu. The display shows a lot of data via watts, amps, battery charge, runtime estimate, but navigating between screens isn't as intuitive as